Hey everybody, welcome to J Stern Designs. Today's Quick Tip Thursday is actually coming to you on Friday because I was in jury duty yesterday. I owe this tutorial to the fact that my husband got all excited about a one-day sale that they had at Joseph A. Banks. He thought he had one day to go shopping and buy one suit and get 3 for free. So I let him think that because I can never get him to go shopping. And we ended up picking out a lot of nice stuff. It was actually exciting. He has new shirts, he has new ties, he has 2 suits, and a pair of dress pants. So I'm going to show you today how to hem straight men's dress pants by putting in a cuff. And if you're new to hemming pants, and the thought of doing a cuff makes you a little hesitant to try, trust me when I say it's one of the easiest ways to hem pants. Okay, I want to show you how to figure out the amount of length you need to make a cuff and how to fold a cuff on this piece of paper before we start working with our pant leg. So just really quickly, I've marked the finished length of my hem, and for this example we're going to use 1¼ inch width cuffs because that's kind of a standard. You can certainly make them a little bit wider if you want to, but the first thing we're going to draw here is the width of our cuff. All right, so I'm just going to make a line here, and this line is going to be where the top fold, this is going to be the top fold of cuff. That's what that's going to end up to be. All right. Then we need the bottom edge of our cuff. So I'm going to mark the bottom edge, which would be another 1¼ inch away. Okay, so this is where the very bottom of our bottom fold of cuff is. Okay, and then because we don't want a raw edge at the bottom of our folded cuff, we need to add a 1/3 1¼ inch to be turned up to the back. So I'm just going to mark a 1/3 1¼ inch here. And then I know the rest of this is my extra length. Okay, so let me show you how this is going to work out. I'm going to cut off my extra length. Okay, and then the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to turn this raw edge up a 1/2 inch to make a clean edge to my hem. So we're just going to fold this up a 1/2 inch and press it. And I'll show you how to do that in the fabric when we get to that step. Then what we're going to do is we are going to fold the bottom fold line of our cuff. We're going to fold that up to the finished length of our cuff. So I'm going to fold this up so that those lines meet. Basically, we're going to line up the bottom fold of the cuff up with our finished length because the bottom edge of the cuff should be at the bottom of the pants. So we're just going to fold that like that. Then what we're going to do is we're going to stitch along this clean finished edge. So there's going to be a line of stitching here. And then I'm just going to show you, this is the right side of the pants. There's going to be a line of stitching here because we sewed through our pants. Okay, so there's the stitching on the top of the fold and it would be right here. So then the last step that we have to do is fold our cuff up that 1¼ inch. And you can see what it creates is a cuff. And on the wrong side, you have the finished edge of your pant. So that's how you figure out the amount you need to leave and where you fold and how it looks. So let's do that to an actual pant leg now. Okay, so here I have my pinned up pant leg, and the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to mark my finished length. And my finished length is actually where the fold is. So if you notice, I have a pin here, but the fold is here. This is where the base of my hem is going to be. So I'm going to mark that. All right, so I'm just going to mark those. All right, and the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take the pins out and I'm going to turn my pant leg completely inside out. Okay, so here's the pant leg that I marked the bottom of my hem, and I turned it inside out. So I'm just going to connect these lines and go around. So here's the mark for my center front for my side seam. I'm just going to draw a line, and then I'm going to turn it a little bit, and I'm going to draw the line from the center to the inseam. Okay, and then I'm going to mark from my inseam back to the center. Okay, and then I'm going to finish it up by going back from the center to this side seam. All right, so now I've got the bottom edge of my pant marked. And the next step is I'm going to mark the 1.25 inches. And now I can go across like the whole half. Okay, so this is going to be the top fold of my cuff. Let me just mark that around. Okay, just connect this little bit right here. Okay, so now I'm going to mark the bottom edge of my cuff, another 1.25 inches. I'm marking all of these folding points separately, just so you can see them this time. When you're used to making a cuff, you can certainly just mark from your finished length all the way down and make one mark and cut it off, and then measure as you fold. You can do that as well. I just wanted to really illustrate the sections of the cuff as we go. All right, so this last one is just the extra that we need to turn it under. You know, and really it's 3 times the width of the cuff that you need. So you certainly could measure that and just draw that in one line if you'd like. I know myself, because I don't like to hem, I like to double check and triple check myself. So just going through these steps just makes me feel more comfortable. Because once you cut it off, you can't glue it back on if you made a mistake. All right. All right, so now I know I'm going to cut off my extra along this bottom line. Okay, if you're tempted to take your rotary cutter and just zip right across, don't do that, because where you have your line here is not going to line up to where your line is, where you can see it. So what you're going to do is you're going to take a pair of scissors, and I'm just going to cut up the leg until I get to my line, and then I'm just going to cut along my line very neatly like this. Okay. Okay. All right, so I've cut off my extra, and now I'm going to go to the iron and show you how to press this cuff up. Okay. I'm going to use my Dritz Easy Hem metal ruler to help turn up my even cuff and my even raw edge. So the first thing is we want to turn this lower edge up 1/2 inch. So this edge right here is marked at 1/2 inch. So basically I can fold this until the edge is even with this line. And because it's metal, I can press with it right under there like this. And then I'm gonna press it. Okay, so the top fold of our cuff, which is this next line, we want to bring that up to our finished hem length. And basically what that means is we are going to be turning up the edge from the fold to here is 2 inches. So I know I have to turn this up 2 inches. So what I'm going to do is kind of get it ready, and then I'm going to measure with this. Okay, so I know that that's 2 inches because I can see it right there. And I'm just going to give it a little steam. And before I really nail it down, I'm just going to double check that it's 2 inches. Yep, 2 inches. 2 inches. Okay, so now I've got my hem pressed up. So I'm going to put a few pins to hold this folded edge, and then we're going to go to the sewing machine. So let me just put in some pins. Okay, as you can see, I've taken off my accessory tray so I can slide my cuff or my hem right onto the free arm, and I'm just going to stitch really close to this folded edge all the way around using a 3.0 stitch length. Okay, I'm just going to overlap my start point and back tack. Okay. All right, let's go to the iron and I'll show you how to finish this hem. All right, so here's what the inside of my pant leg looks like now that I've sewn it. Notice how nice and neat everything looks. All right, so here's how the right side of our hem looks at the moment, and you can see that the stitching. Okay, so I'm just going to give that a steam. So now the next step is we're going to fold up our cuff that 1.25 inches. And again, I'm going to use my my hemming ruler to get that 1.25 inches, like that. So I'm just going to steam that into place. All right, also, I'm going to pin in my seams because that's where I'm going to tack it up. So see how I'm just going to put a pin there? All right, let me just make sure I still have my 1.25 inches. Yep. I want to make sure the side and inseams match perfectly. Okay, so now that I've got that marked, what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually put my crease back into my cuff. So I'm going to get rid of my sleeve board and I'm going to put my flat surface back up. While I've got it flat, I'm just going to press the crease back into the cuff. Now, depending on the fabric you're using, this is 100% wool, and you don't want to create a shine, so you can use a press cloth. Now I've got my cuff pressed. Okay, to finish this off, we're just going to stitch the cuff to the leg right along the seam. You won't really see the stitching, but that's what's going to hold our cuff up. We're going to do it on both the side and the inseam. So let's go back to the sewing machine. Okay, you'll notice I've put my open toe foot on because I want to really see that I'm going in the ditch, like right in the seam. And the other thing is I'm not going to stitch the cuff all the way to the base of the cuff. I'm just going to stitch from 1/4 inch below the top edge. So you don't have to sew all the way down this little seam to attach the cuff. Really, just if you get the last 1/4 inch or so in, you'll be good. So I'm going to put myself on a 3.0 and I'm going to line it up so that my needle goes right in there like that. Okay, and to give myself a little bit more room to hide the fact that I'm tacking it in the seam, I'm just gently spreading the seam open a little bit so my needle goes right between those two layers and it kind of catches it right in the ditch. And when I get to the top, I'm just going to back up and I'm just going to go backwards like 2 stitches and be done. All right, there we have cuffing pants. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial on how to shorten men's pants by making a cuff. If you have any questions about how to mark your pant leg, how much to shorten it, or if you need tips about those types of things, please visit my blog at Stern Designs. I have links to some other articles that will help you with that stuff. And if you have any questions, please post your comments below, or again, you can post them on my blog post at jsterndesigns.com. I hope you have a wonderful weekend, and I'll see you next week for Quick Tip Tuesday.